You thought the saga was over. Think again. What if I told you the courtroom shocker no one saw coming just dropped like a bomb? YNW Melly, yeah, that rapper who turned murder rumors into chart-topping hits, and his own mother just got hit with sentences so heavy, it's like the justice system decided to erase them from the map forever. But wait, it's not just about a music career crashing down. Nope, this is way darker. A twisted family saga filled with secret deals, shady backroom bribes, and a mother-son duo that apparently took ride or die to a whole new, criminal level. How deep does this rabbit hole go? Who leaked the dirt that's blowing this case wide open? And why did the judge slam down the gavel with a fury nobody saw coming? Buckle up, because the empire built on fame and deception just came crashing down, and you're about to get every messy detail they didn't want you to hear. Ready to dive into the scandal of the century? Let's get it. They say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes that blood can turn into a web of lies so tangled it threatens to swallow everything in its path. YNW Melly and his mother Jaime King are the latest shocking example of a family falling not just from grace but straight into the depths of criminal scandal. For years, YNW Melly was known not only for his music but for the dark cloud of murder allegations that hung over him like a storm ready to break. His hit song Murder on My Mind was no longer just a track but a chilling soundtrack to a life spiraling out of control. However, the scandal that finally erupted was bigger than just one troubled artist facing charges. It was a family affair. And it was ugly. Jaime King had always played the role of the supportive mother, publicly standing by her son through every court date and trial. She was the picture of loyalty and faith, constantly seen lighting candles and leading prayer circles for Melly's freedom. But behind-the-scenes sources reveal a far more sinister role for Jaime. Allegedly, she was not just a mother but the queen pip of a criminal operation designed to protect her son at all costs. Documents leaked from court proceedings show a pattern of forged paperwork, burner phones and secret money transfers that suggest Jaime was actively involved in witness tampering, bribery, and even threats to silence those who spoke against her son. One surveillance video leaked by an anonymous insider showed a woman matching Jaime's description slipping a flash drive to a key witness's relative just moments before the witness changed their story in court. Days later, the relative vanished without a trace, deleting social media accounts and moving out of state as if they disappeared into thin air. In addition to shady dealings in the courtroom, financial records reveal that Jaime's business accounts received nearly $1 million in unexplained payments over the last 18 months. Most of the money was funneled through consulting gigs tied to a shell company connected to a defunct record label and a former cellmate of Melly's. The IRS quickly took notice and launched an audit that added pressure to an already explosive case. Jailhouse phone calls recorded secretly captured conversations between Melly and Jaime that sounded less like family talks and more like strategic planning sessions. Jaime casually joked about cleaning up loose ends and cryptically referenced a second drive that supposedly contained evidence no one was meant to see. This audio became a pivotal piece of evidence suggesting the mother-son duo was involved in an elaborate cover-up. Public reaction was immediate and intense. Fans who once championed Melly's innocence found themselves divided as conspiracy theories and viral videos dissected every aspect of the case. TikTok sleuths mapped out timelines linked Jaime to secret meetings and suspicious transactions, while YouTube commentators speculated on the full extent of the criminal empire. The atmosphere around the case grew more heated as protests erupted outside the courthouse, with some demanding fair treatment for Melly and others calling for Jaime's arrest. In court, Melly appeared worn down and defeated, but Jaime showed no signs of surrender. She entered the courtroom dressed in designer clothes, sunglasses shielding her expression like a general ready for battle. The judge was unyielding, denying bail and signaling that the case was far from over. Behind the scenes, federal investigators expanded their probe, uncovering encrypted messages, offshore accounts, and evidence of money laundering that threatened to topple a network far larger than originally suspected. Then an explosive internal memo from a South Florida district attorney's office surfaced, suggesting Jaime's involvement extended to intimidating witnesses with threats of violence. The case evolved from a high-profile murder trial into an organized crime investigation, implicating an entire family network. The courtroom drama was no longer just about Melly's fate, but the unraveling of a dark empire built on deception, manipulation, and misplaced loyalty. The deeper investigators dug, the clearer it became that Jaime King was not simply a mother fighting for her son, but a criminal architect behind a scheme designed to obstruct justice at every turn. This story of family betrayal and legal intrigue captivated a nation and challenged perceptions of fame and loyalty. What began as a tragic rap saga turned into a cautionary tale of how far some will go to protect blood ties, even when it means destroying everything in the process. The judge's gavel now hangs heavy with the weight of years of corruption and secrets finally exposed to the light. For YNW Melly and Jaime King, the courtroom is no longer a stage for sympathy but a battleground, where justice demands its pound of flesh. The public waits with bated breath for the next chapter, but one thing is clear: this is a fall from grace that no comeback can fix. The shockwaves from YNW MELLY and his mother Jaime King's courtroom saga didn't just fade with the initial revelations, they only grew louder as more details spilled into the public eye. Behind closed doors, investigators uncovered an elaborate web of deceit and corruption that stretched far beyond what anyone imagined. According to anonymous sources close to the investigation, the pair allegedly used a complex system of burner phones, encrypted messages, and fake identities to stay one step ahead of law enforcement. One insider revealed that Jaime was not just a protective mother but the mastermind running operations from behind the scenes, coordinating payments to key witnesses and orchestrating elaborate schemes to obstruct justice. The money trail led investigators to a series of suspicious financial transactions funneled through shell companies and fake charities. One of these charities, named Hope for Young Legends, was allegedly a front for laundering cash intended to bribe witnesses and cover legal fees. Court documents leaked by an insider revealed thousands of dollars moving through accounts connected to Jaime's LLC with no clear business purpose. The IRS reportedly launched a full audit after uncovering the suspicious activity and began tracing the money back to a defunct record label tied to several known associates of Melly. Meanwhile, surveillance footage obtained from a Miami hotel lobby captured a startling exchange where a woman matching Jaime's description handed an envelope to a relative of a key witness just hours before the witness dramatically changed their testimony. The sudden flip in the witness's story raised eyebrows and fueled speculation of coercion or bribery. Days after the footage went public, the relative mysteriously disappeared from social media and moved out of state under unclear circumstances, adding to the mounting list of unanswered questions. In the midst of the chaos, jail officials quietly reassigned several staff members after it was discovered they had allowed unauthorized calls between Melly and individuals not officially listed as legal counsel. These calls reportedly included discussions about legal strategies and attempts to manipulate witness accounts. One of the so-called advisors was later revealed to be a nightclub promoter with ties to money laundering operations for other artists in the trap music scene. Intriguingly, this promoter purchased property under Jaime King's name shortly after the investigation began, stirring suspicions about possible money laundering or asset hiding. Despite all this turmoil, Melly's social media remained active with posts promoting new music, cryptic memes, and fan engagement. Investigators later found evidence suggesting that Jaime was running these accounts from a secure room in her house using a laptop seized during an FBI raid. Among the emails found on the device was one chilling subject line that read, "Plan B, if all else fails," hinting at contingency plans for worst-case scenarios. This email, along with other intercepted communications, was key evidence in the subsequent RICO charges filed against both Melly and Jaime. The public reaction to these revelations was explosive. Social media erupted with heated debates, with some fans refusing to believe the allegations, insisting that Jaime's actions were those of a desperate mother fighting a biased system. Others condemned her as equally culpable in the web of lies and criminality. Viral videos dissecting court leaks and financial records spread rapidly, with some influencers gaining millions of views, breaking down the so-called Melly Mafia theory. Meanwhile, protesters gathered outside the courthouse with signs demanding justice for Melly and calls for Jaime's prosecution. News outlets ran continuous coverage, turning the case into a media circus. The pressure mounted on prosecutors to bring all involved parties to justice as new whistleblowers came forward, claiming firsthand knowledge of Jaime's involvement in witness intimidation and financial crimes. At the heart of the scandal was a jailhouse phone call that leaked just days before sentencing. In the recording, Melly and Jaime discuss cleaning up loose ends with chilling calmness. Jaime even jokes about a second drive containing damaging evidence. This call was the final piece that pushed the case beyond just a murder trial into a full criminal conspiracy investigation. The courtroom atmosphere became electric as prosecutors presented new audio and video evidence suggesting coordinated efforts to obstruct justice and manipulate public opinion through social media campaigns, leaked emails from family lawyers and media strategists, revealed plans to capitalize on the mother-son narrative using manufactured emotion to sway public sympathy and influence jury perception. The revelation that Melly's legal battles were being managed like a PR campaign fueled outrage and skepticism about the authenticity of the entire defense. Then came the most dramatic moment of the trial, when a close relative of Melly entered the courtroom clutching a duffel bag full of alleged burner phones, jailhouse letters, and a USB labeled "Do Not Open." The contents of that USB reportedly included audio files capturing conversations between Melly and Jaime, plotting legal tactics, payoffs, and something ominously called Plan C. The prosecution played these recordings to the courtroom, and the reaction was immediate disbelief, followed by stunned silence. Even the judge was forced to take a lengthy recess to regain composure. Outside the courtroom, social media exploded with millions reacting to the bombshell evidence, further polarizing public opinion. Half the community screamed "Free Melly," while the other half demanded the entire family be held accountable for their alleged crimes. The case also sparked a wider discussion about corruption and abuse of power within the music industry and legal system. Some experts speculated that if convicted, the fallout could lead to widespread investigations into other artists and their entourages. The scandal reached new heights when the FBI quietly joined the investigation after uncovering links to digital currency wallets used for untraceable payments suspected of funding illegal activities. This federal involvement turned what was once a high-profile murder case into a sprawling RICO investigation targeting a complex criminal enterprise. Leaked chat logs from private online servers suggested a calculated media strategy involving scripted grief videos, live streams, and coordinated social media posts designed to manipulate public perception and generate sympathy. The audience that once viewed Melly as a misunderstood artist found themselves caught in a tangled web of deceit, carefully orchestrated by those closest to him. As the trial neared its climax, the prosecution introduced an intercepted jailhouse note, allegedly from Melly, stating she gone, take the fall, if I don't beat this, heightening tensions and casting doubt on the mother-son defense narrative. The subsequent arrest of Jaime King was broadcast live, turning her from a grieving mother into a symbol of a criminal mastermind in the eyes of many. The courtroom watched in stunned silence as she was led away in handcuffs, her expression unreadable but her presence marking a turning point in the case. At that moment, it became clear that the justice system was prepared to hold every person accountable, no matter their status or relationship. What started as a music industry tragedy had evolved into a cautionary tale of corruption, family loyalty, and the high price of power. The final chapter in the YNW Melly and Jaime King saga unfolded like a suspense thriller, with every courtroom revelation pushing the limits of disbelief and leaving the public on the edge of their seats. As the trial entered its last phase, it became clear that the scope of the investigation was far greater than anyone had anticipated. Prosecutors laid out a meticulously detailed case, painting Jaime not merely as a desperate mother but as a strategic operator at the heart of an extensive criminal network designed to obstruct justice and manipulate public opinion. The evidence included a trove of encrypted communications, burner phones with deleted messages, and financial records revealing a complex money laundering operation that funneled illicit funds through fake charities and shell companies. The courtroom was captivated by testimony from former associates who described Jaime as ruthless and calculating, someone willing to do whatever it took to protect her son, even if it meant threatening witnesses and tampering with evidence. One anonymous witness stated that Jaime once boasted about her ability to control the narrative and manipulate the legal system to her advantage. This testimony was backed by leaked emails outlining coordinated media strategies that involved scripted social media appearances designed to garner public sympathy and create a favorable image of the mother-son duo. The prosecution also presented damning surveillance footage showing Jaime meeting secretly with key figures linked to the case, including a known nightclub promoter with ties to money laundering. This meeting coincided with suspicious financial transactions and witness recantations, raising questions about bribery and intimidation. Public reaction continued to be intense and deeply divided, with some still holding on to the belief that Jaime's actions were those of a mother fighting for her child against a biased system, while others condemned her as a criminal mastermind who helped orchestrate a cover-up. Social media platforms remained battlegrounds of heated debate, with viral videos and live streams analyzing every court document and piece of evidence. The fallout was not limited to the courtroom as federal authorities expanded the investigation, linking the family's operations to a larger criminal enterprise involving digital currency wallets and offshore accounts. This expansion sparked speculation that additional arrests and indictments could follow, shaking up the music industry and beyond. The emotional climax came when the judge delivered the sentencing. Jaime King received a significant prison term for charges including conspiracy to obstruct justice, witness tampering, and money laundering. The courtroom fell silent as the reality of the verdict sank in. Melly's expression was unreadable, but witnesses noted a brief moment where he mouthed words that no one could hear and then gave a faint smile that seemed to signal acceptance or perhaps resignation. The sentencing marked the end of a hype chapter but the beginning of a long road for both mother and son as they faced the consequences of their actions. The trial also left a lasting impact on public discourse about the blurred lines between family loyalty and criminality. Many questioned how far love and protection can go before crossing into dangerous territory and what responsibility the legal system holds in untangling these complex dynamics. As media coverage slowed and the dust began to settle, the case continued to inspire documentaries, podcasts, and countless online discussions dissecting every angle of the scandal. For some, this was a tragic fall from grace, for others a cautionary tale about power, deception, and the price of ambition. The courtroom battles might be over, but the story of YNW Melly and Jaime King remains a stark reminder that fame and fortune do not grant immunity from justice. This saga laid bare the vulnerabilities and contradictions inherent in a culture obsessed with celebrity and loyalty. It challenged fans and critics alike to rethink their perceptions of truth and deception in the public eye. Now with both Melly and Jaime behind bars, the spotlight turns to what comes next for the music industry and the families caught in its crossfire. Will this be a turning point for accountability, or just another scandal to fade into the background as the next headline emerges? The answer remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the legacy of this case will echo for years to come, serving as a grim warning about the cost of unchecked ambition and the dark side of family loyalty when it morphs into a criminal enterprise. As the courthouse doors closed behind them, the world was left to grapple with a story that was part tragedy, part thriller, and entirely unforgettable. So, what do you think about this jaw-dropping saga? Did YNW Melly and his mother Jaime cross a line from family loyalty into full-blown criminal conspiracy? Or is this just another example of the system twisting the truth to make an example out of a high-profile name? We want to hear your take on this explosive case. Was Jaime truly the mastermind behind the cover-up? Or was she just a desperate mother doing everything she could to protect her son? And what about Melly himself, a victim of circumstance or a key player in a dangerous game? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below, because this story isn't just about one trial. It's about the bigger picture: fame, power, money, and the lengths some will go to protect their empire. If you're as stunned and intrigued by this case as we are, don't forget to hit that like button to show your support. Your engagement helps us dig deeper and bring you more breaking stories like this one. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update on this case and other explosive investigations coming your way. Trust us, you're going to want to stay tuned, because this is far from over. More twists, leaks, and revelations are sure to surface, and we'll be here uncovering every secret the mainstream media tries to hide. So join the conversation, share this video with your friends, and let's expose the truth together. Remember, in a world full of smoke and mirrors, the truth is the most powerful weapon, and here, we don't hold back. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and most importantly, stay tuned.